and welcome to the latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment pop culture news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Wow, I feel like I sounded like a professional news person there.
I know, you're getting real good at this.
There's a lot to get to. Since we've been kind of on break with everything, just getting back into the swing of things, I feel like I'm out of step a little bit. But I wanted to start with just a serious note before we get into everything else and send prayers and blessings to everyone in Afghanistan. That situation is a clusterfuck. So I felt like I just wanted to, let the people know thoughts and blessings are with you. I don't like saying thoughts and prayers. That sounds so hollow after everything else, but Anyway, a couple of follow-ups. I like Rachel Maddow, and I always say, watch this space. So, and I give her credit. So that's not plagiarism, is it? Is it plagiarism?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the last time we talked about the rich people, them stars who don't like to bathe and stuff. And I don't know if you know this, but we have to add another one to the list. And this one kind of hurt my heart. Jake Gyllenhaal is on the list of people who don't like to bathe on the regular. Why is she laughing at that?
Because he's white. Like, are we shocked? Like,
yes!
Come at me with a black celebrity says that they don't bathe, okay? But until then, nothing shocks me about that.
But I love Jake G. Like,
you can love him and he can be dirty at the same time. And
then, it kind of coincides with, it made me think about Taylor Swift. She's releasing Red, the Taylor version, and we know that album was mostly about their relationship. And I was like, huh. So it made me kind of want to go back and listen to see if she alluded to him and his dirty habits, but never mind. Just being a little extra. Britney Spears is one step closer to freedom. Her father stepped down as from her conservatorship. Yay! Yay! Okay, I see I'm on my own at that.
Yeah, over it.
Trial has officially started, so they added some additional charges. I'm really just to the point. Throw the book at them and let's get it over with. Did you? All Rise, it was canceled, but then it might get a new life on OWN. Did you still watch All Rise?
Nope.
Yeah, it kind of, last year, I watched the first couple of episodes, and then just with everything going on, it kind of fell off by the wayside. So, and then once they announced that they canceled it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to go back and rewatch it, but if it gets a new life, I might go back and watch what I missed from last year. I know you're excited about this one. Never Have I Ever has been renewed for season 3.
I'm excited about that. Can't wait to see what happens next.
I know. Team Paxton in the house.
That's only her. Yeah, we about to do Team Paxton, Team Ben. Like people had to do Team Edward and Team Jacob, okay? You stay on your side of the street and I'm gonna stay on my side. But unfortunately, your side is the only one who got hit with a car.
Whatever. We're going to make, but my side got the girl. We're gonna make shirts. Team Paxton, swimming into your hearts.
Okay. Unfortunately, he can't swim no more. But okay.
That's okay. He still got that stroke though. See, never mind. Let me stop.
Why you had to go there?
Because it's me.
Y'all, Eddie does nasty. And not Jake Gyllenhaal nasty.
I know. I have a dirty mind. My mind probably needs to bathe more than once a day. I probably need to take a brain shower.
We are starting off great.
I don't know if you knew this one. This is a late addition to the list, but I saw it and I just thought it's interesting. We've talked about the show, both seasons or both parts. Selena, the producer of the movie Selena, is suing her family and Netflix over the series, saying that the movie producer owned the rights. He's saying that her family did not have the right to tell her story because he owned the rights. And I'm like, what the? Yeah.
Okay, so entertainment wise, we may be like, what the heck? Like, it's her family. But if they sold the rights of telling her story to him, then technically he does have a leg to stand on with that.
Well, the judge tentatively ruled and dismissed the case. Basically, they're going to have to refile because it wasn't clear as to what he was saying or trying to say. But you are right. Technically, and that's what he's saying happens, that they signed over the rights to him. And I'm like, okay, but did they sign it over just for the movie? Was it like, because if there's an expiration date on it. Like, okay, you have the rights for the movie, but did you have TV rights too? Did we sign you exclusive rights? And how long were you entitled to those rights? So it's a whole big thing, but we'll see what happens. So, now the Disney, we talked about Black Widow. That lawsuit is getting ugly. It's getting real ugly. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, and we also talked about this because of the lawsuit. Remember what we said was going to happen with Shang-Chi? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, so Shang-Chi, which I'm really excited about, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, I see I'm alone in my excitement for Shang-Chi, but that's okay. The president of Disney, not Marvel, but Disney, came out and said, hey, since people have been complaining about us releasing the movies simultaneously on Disney Plus, we're not going to do that with Shang-Chi. And then he had the nerve to say, oh, well, this is the movie we're going to experiment with, like literally called it an experiment. And so the star of Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, he fired back and said, our movie is not an experiment. Don't call us an experiment. And so, and it's getting really good reviews. And so I hope that it does well. And if it doesn't do well, then you know what they're going to say. So I just really hope that it does well for lots of reasons. And Emma Stone, speaking of Disney, Emma Stone, she's not suing. She signed on to do Cruella 2 is officially a go. Yay! You're not excited about that? Well, I think if I were her, she probably used the threat of the lawsuit as leverage to get more of what she wanted, even though she was an executive producer on that movie. So we'll see what happens. And speaking of superhero movies, I know this is a different universe, but Black Canary is getting her own movie starring Journey Smollett, and she played Black Canary in that horrible
Harley Quinn's movie.
Yeah, I was about to say that horrible movie you forced me to watch. Harley Quinn. Huh?
We didn't see Harley Quinn together.
Yeah, we did. We saw it at that one movie theater that we rarely go to. It was like in that mall.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was kidnapped. You forced me to watch it again.
While she drove her own car there, y'all.
I was kidnapped. But yeah, so I hope now in that movie, I love the fact that, they did Black Canary. I hope, and we've talked about this before, go back and listen to any one of our numerous episodes on the DC movie or just our latest one on the Suicide Squad. I hope they don't DC this up.
They're going to.
That's become a verb. Like, I'm excited to see Journey Smollett because for me, she was one of the bright spots in the movie, Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn had potential and it was DC'd up. I hope they don't DC this up. I really, really hope they don't. So, are you excited about the Black Canary movie?
I am. Just to kind of see how it turns out. Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited about a DC movie, and then I just ultimately get disappointed.
It gets DC'd. You're excited until it gets DC'd.
Touche.
Yeah, I am too. Like I said, I thought she was one of the bright spots in the Harley Quinn movie, and I've always loved the character Black Canary. I love the whole Birds of Prey theme. But again, just I have to temper that excitement because it's DC. Now I know you're excited about this one. Captain America 4 has been greenlit. Okay, I'm gonna need an audience sound effect. I'm
Wait,
gonna
no,
need that.
no, no. Like,
That huh?
where's my excitement? Like, I mean, okay, Captain America is one of like my favorite movie series from the like Marvel universe of like a single character getting his own movies. Like I can watch the Captain America movies over and over and over again. But we discussed like my thoughts on Anthony Mackie as Captain America. Like if you told me Chris Evans was coming back, I'm all for that. But I don't know. Like I'm on the fence about Anthony Mackie as
Well,
Captain America.
he is coming back as Captain
He
America.
is. I mean, it's not like I
So
got a choice.
carry over from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Spoiler alert if you have not seen the movie or listened to the episode that we did on the OG wind down, popcorn wind down. Then he is going to be Captain America. I'm excited just because, like you said, to me, this Iron Man series was great. It really was. Well, Iron Man 1 was great. 2 and 3 were like, eh. But as far
But
as
Jessica,
over,
you can't say the Iron Man series was great.
I
Iron Man
know,
#1 was good.
and I caught myself. I caught myself because when I said, I was like, eh.
Eh.
Aside from the Avengers series, which got better as it went along, um, Captain America, like you said, was probably the best overall series from beginning to end. Just from telling the story to completion, 1, 2, and 3, each of them got better and better and better. And Captain America truly was the tie-in after the first one, like Winter Soldier and Civil War. They were truly the tie-ins to the rest of the Marvel universe. So I loved the Captain America series. I think I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier a little bit more than you did. Um,
Don't
if
get
I'm
me
not,
wrong. I really did like it. I just am still on the fence about um Sam being Captain America. They didn't really sell it to me as much as with, the rest of the audience because most people were very, very excited about it.
yeah, and I will agree with this. I think I'm excited once he stopped bitching about it and just took on the responsibility. So and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, granted, we really, really didn't get to see him fully be Captain America, right?
No.
Okay. So now I think with this movie, I'm excited to fully see him take on that mantle and see how he will do as Captain America. But I must say, I need Sebastian Stan back because I love Bucky.
Yeah. Like
Um,
my excitement will go up if the Winter Soldier is actually involved. I love their bromance, but I'm a
yeah,
huge Sebastian Stan fan. So
yes.
yeah, I need him to come back. Please sign on for this movie because I don't know how excited I'm gonna be if you are not in this movie, Sebastian. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of like it would kind of be Iron Man without Rhodes or Rhodesy or Rhodey. Batman Batman hasn't had a Robin in forever, so that's just wrong. But um, I I I do love Bucky and I do love the Winter Soldier and I love their bromance. I think it is amazing, and I would really love to see him. Not saying
And
that they need him, but I think he's just an integral part of the story.
and I like also like I love when they do interviews together. Like even like when it was Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, and Sebastian Stan, and they're doing interviews, like their bromance, like their real life bromance is like on a whole nother level. Like I love their chemistry off camera as much as I love their chemistry on camera. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna need that.
Yeah, I'm excited. So now I think we may have talked about, just refresh my memory. Are you more excited about, I'll put it this way, are you more excited about a black Captain America than you are about a black Superman?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
definitely because Black Captain America, I knew like that's a whole character. Like I know the storyline of that. It's not like, you know, they're doing it of the times kind of thing. But Sam Wilson does ultimately become Captain America. Like, there's a whole storyline about that. So you knew when they first introduced his character that is what they were leading to. You know, and I've already talked about the reason why I ultimately am not excited about any Black Superman. Neither one of them am I excited about.
Okay. All right. I have to agree. And well, I'm more open to the Black Superman than you are. We've already established that. We don't have to rehash all of that. Again, go listen to any one of our DC Marvel specials, or even the Suicide Squad, the clusterfuck that was. The movie, not the episode, but the movie. And we kind of talk about it there as well. But I am excited about Black Captain America. And I'm excited to see what Anthony Mackie does, how he carries the movie and the rest of the franchise on his own, but hopefully not on his own. Because again, Sebastian Stan, I need you to resign as the Winter Soldier, because and I also think, like you said, a lot of people are excited about this. They really have received it well. I don't know necessarily about Black Superman, maybe like you said, because one does have a history in the canon of the comic books, as far as the Black Captain America goes versus the Black Superman. I don't know. So we will see what happens with that. So, a show would not be complete without us talking about our boys, BTS. I love BTS. Can I sing?
Know.
Can I sing? Smooth as that, even though this is not an extra butter episode. Criminal Undercover. The way that's headed, the way it looks, is that is really probably going to be the song of the summer, even though it's no longer number one in the Billboard Hot 100 after 10 weeks at number one, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. But it's still in the top 10. And they have just broken another record.
What's the record?
I was about to say, that's your cue. You're supposed to ask me what record.
What's the record?
First, you don't sound it. You're like, oh, another record. Okay. 75 songs with at least 100 million streams on Spotify.
Oh, okay. Congrats.
Yeah. And they have 5 VMAs. They're actually nominated for something other than top K-pop and social this year. Best song. I think one of them is. Wait, I had my list. And then let me see. What was it? Best song. Best video. Hold on. And they were nominated for both Butter and Dynamite. Yeah. So, and of course the K-pop and the social, and yeah. So, the normal ones that they were nominated for. But are you going to watch? Nope. I know. Oh, and best choreography. You're not even gonna watch the VMAs?
Nope.
So you're completely off of award shows.
Yep. I have given up on award shows. I will do what regular folks do nowadays and catch clips on YouTube.
So are you calling me irregular?
Yes. Yes, I am. Because you're going to watch it, the whole thing? Or are you going to have it playing in the background while you do everything else?
Yeah, that. Well, see? You know what? MTV is one of those that I rarely watch, but just because it's coming on a random night when there's nothing else to do, I'll probably have it on in the background when I do nothing else. It hasn't been announced whether or not they're going to perform. So, but Lil Nas X is going to perform, and I want to see him perform. Maybe it'll be the first time that he performs with Jack Harlow, Industry Baby. I don't know. We'll see. But what happens with that? Also, in other news, K-pop, one of our favorites is going to be...
Wait, you didn't talk about BTS canceling their tour?
Oh, that was what got it started. Thank you. See, my mind. I need to take some ginkgo biloba. Plus, I'm tired. I've been up all day. I didn't get my nap today. Um, BTS is officially canceling their Map of the Soul tour,
which I didn't realize was still on the table.
Oh,
I thought
well,
that had been canceled last year. My bad, y'all.
well, a lot of people, they didn't cancel their tours; they just postponed them. And so I guess they were trying to wait and see what 2021 was going to bring. And 2021 really told 2020, hold my beer. Like Rona and her crazy ass mutated cousin Delta, they're just running rampant. And and shit is worse than it was last year, except we're not locked in the house.
They're not the only ones that canceled their tour though. Garth Brooks has canceled the rest of his tour dates as well. After I think he had like a very crowded concert and it just didn't sit well with him. So he canceled the rest of his dates
Yeah.
for his concerts.
And I want to say Dan and Shay. I read another group did the same thing. I think it was Dan and
And
Shay as
Stevie
well.
Nicks as well did it.
Yeah. So a lot of people who have put concerts back on the map, no pun intended, BTS this year, on the calendar, because they thought people would do the right thing, and get vaccinated. Uh, but with the increase, the surge in Delta, a lot of people now are starting to cancel tours and reschedule things. Movie premieres are being rescheduled. So, but back to BTS, I think part of me thinks that we're still kind of in the Map of the Soul era since they haven't officially released another. Well, they did B, but I guess B was kind of like of the moment. It wasn't a whole era on its own. But I think they're probably. My mindset is probably by the time they actually tour again, they won't be touring. Map of the Soul won't be the big album that they'll be touring on. Does that make sense? I feel like I might be rambling, but did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's part of the reason why they canceled it, because they could have just did what everyone else did and pushed it off to 2022. But so that's just me thinking that we might actually get a full BTS album and another BTS era by the time. Plus, they did the Map of the Soul online tour. So even though the online concert, even though it's not officially what they wanted to do, so I think by the time they go out on tour, they'll have something else to promote besides.
I hate that people don't like they kind of dismiss B the album. Like
It was amazing.
But like people dismiss it. Like everybody dismiss it. Like, oh, it was kind of like a pause. It wasn't a pause. It was a great album that they did. Yeah, it may have been of the times, but I mean, why was it of the times? Like the only one that was of the times on that album was probably Life Goes On, which they actually did kind of on relation to what life was during COVID. But all the other songs were just songs that they had written before, or, so I mean, it was their next album. I would hope that they would have performed those. I get like Map of the Soul was supposed to be huge, but I think they just concentrate on that because they never got to do their concert of Map of the Soul. But if they had at least started their concert and had been able to perform like On, which is the one song that they really wanted to perform for Army, didn't get to, then B wouldn't be as dismissed as people do. Because like people don't talk about it the way like they kind of like skip over it like it was just a pause album. Like it's not a pause
Yeah.
album.
Well, that's what I think, and that's how B is great. It's an amazing album, but I think they've acknowledged, they said, if the world had have been right, they probably wouldn't have released B. They wouldn't have done Dynamite. So I think that's why, but I don't think they think of it as any. I'll say this. I think of B as more of an EP. It's great. I mean, yeah, EP. It's great. I love it. I think it was amazing. But if the world had been right, if 2020 hadn't have been a clusterfuck, it wouldn't have been released because they would have been on tour or finishing up their tour. So, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think it should be dismissed at all because it was a hell of an album. And I am looking forward to what they do next, as well as The next one, um, Bobby, one of our favorites, dropped some big news that is not quite music related. He's about to become a Bobby daddy. See what I did there?
Bobby is getting married, y'all. And he's also going to become a father next month. So him and his girl have been, or him and his woman have been like pregnant for the last 8 months and nobody knew, not even Dispatch, which is like their tabloid thing that always knows everything. And they didn't even release this information on the fact that like he was in a serious relationship, about to have a baby, and was getting married.
Yeah, which I think that's amazing that he was able to keep it on lock for as long as he did. Now, the other thing I think that has been amazing is that the news has been, from what I've seen. I know you go a lot more into the Korean sources than I do, but from what I've seen on the surface, it has been pretty well received. Like the K-pop fans have not just gone batshit like they normally do. Am I right? Wrong? Somewhere in the
Yes,
middle?
but to be honest, I feel that, and come at me if you want, I feel like that's partly because K-pop has become so international. So you're not only dealing with like the K-pop fans from 5 years ago, but you're dealing with a lot of K-pop fans that are in, um, you know, societies where their celebrities constantly date and they get married, they get divorced, they have kids, because the conversation has been coming up on like the fact that they're not able to publicly date. And it's not like because they're supposed to be conservative, but it's because their whole lives is supposed to be surrounding their fans, like making their fans think like, oh, if I'm really special, I can one day date my idol. Let me tell y'all right now, never that. You will never in your life be able to date any of them. Any of them. I'm sure you'll be able to sleep with some of them, but actually date them? Not happening. Y'all need to get over that. But yeah, so very, very happy for him that he is getting a very well received response to the marriage and baby news. Now, I will say, let's talk about this in 6 months and see how it goes, because Icon has not like truly come out with a full album in, I want to say, over a year. So Bobby came out with his comeback and they had to cut it short. But, we'll see how it goes when they do a comeback on how they're received. Now, I am going to love it, but,
Yeah, I I I'm with you. And that was, I guess, as we are latecomers to the K-pop fandom and K-pop game, as we were, and I know this is one of the early conversations we had, even predating Popcorn Wine Down, even though they were kind of born around the same time and maybe out of the same thing. But that was when I remember we talked about that. And I guess, like you said, just from our being international fans or Western ideas, that was one thing I did not like. And that kind of drove me crazy, was that kind of stalker fandom thing that they had popping off, where the fans just seemed like they had so much control over what you release. Like I'm okay with you being private just because you choose to keep your business private. But for fear of isolating or alienating your fans who have this crazy idea or mentality, no, that was something that just kind of I never really understood. But yeah. So I'm with you. Good luck to Bobby. Congratulations. Big shout
yes.
out. I hope fatherhood and husbandom serve you well,
and I hope that his wife, soon to be wife, and his baby are able to have as private of a life as they can have, seen as how he's been able to keep her identity secret. It has not been revealed who is his fiance and his going to be his baby mama. So I just hope that continues.
Yeah, if that's what they want, I hope so too. Especially because we know that once some fans find out, they will probably go batshit and start the whole stalker thing, which is not cool. So speaking of musicians and fans and doing shit that's not cool, um, this probably could have gone in, the follow-ups, but I think this deserves a whole story on its own. And you do too. But DaBaby took back his apology for
Oh,
his
DaBaby needs an ass
homophobic.
whooping.
You need to slap DaBaby, throw DaBaby across your knee, and just beat his ass old school.
Old school. And
Get
for
that
every
belt.
single word, they should get a hit for every single word.
Oh, like that. You best not.
You sure right. Every single.
What you calling for? One of those where they enunciate every syllable, and you're like, oh,
Every
girl.
single one.
Not just word.
It's like when they get to it right, and then all of a sudden they start saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Like, look, you start getting those SAT ass whoopings. Like, damn, Mom.
That's what the baby
I didn't know
needs.
you knew such big words. Like, shit.
Oh gosh. No, like I was just like, oh really? Like I felt that it was because he's the fans that he has that said he shouldn't have apologized, like he's okay with those fans. Like he doesn't want, like that's him letting everybody knows that he doesn't want any other fans. He don't want the ones who are mad at him, upset about him, who called him out on his nonsense. He doesn't want them. He doesn't care for them. Like he's all about the ones that was like, yo, you need to stand strong. Like what you apologizing for? Like, you know how many people agree with you on that? Like the person who's telling him that, he was just like, yo, you right. You right. He was like, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this. And that's what he did. Like he's okay with like alienating or disrespecting that whole group of people. And now you're gonna have to look at, I mean, you already lost money, so, or maybe they told him just wait a while, because you know how we have short attention spans as well as a society.
Well, and I don't know. I know we kind of got into this towards the end of our last episode of ReWine. So, and I don't know that was one of the things I was like, I don't know if we gave this story the attention that it deserved, and maybe just because we were over, a lot happened and we were over DaBaby. But here's my thing: he lost money because they told him, Lollapalooza went as far as to tell him, hey, all you have to do is apologize, and you can still play. And I think we did talk about it. He issued that random ass apology that, oh,
No, they told
that
him he had to release a video apology.
yeah. And so what he did is he released an apology at the end of his video, some horrible ass video talking about, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for being me, or some bullshit. It was horrible. I watched it because I wanted to see what it was, but it was horrible. So then I'm not, and I'm using this for real, what the word means, not cancel culture, but they canceled him off of the Lollapalooza tour, like off of the Lollapalooza weekend or schedule. They took him off the schedule. Then the other festivals that he was supposed to play started. Now here's my thing: DaBaby gained a whole following and a lot more popularity. Like, yeah, he had the number one song, I think, for a long time with Rockstar or whatever, which was it was a good song. But he gained a whole lot more fans. A lot of the people that he alienated when he did the remix to Levitating with Dua Lipa. But who does DaBaby think is actually, and we talked about this, who does he think is actually buying his music?
I don't know, the same people that are buying Boosie. What is that dude name from Louisiana? Oh fuck. Is it Boosie?
Yeah, Boosie Badass.
Yeah, maybe he got the same, he wants the same fans as Boosie.
Well, okay, but and DaBaby, his problems go a lot deeper than just the homophobia. Let's talk about the misogyny You know, and
Oh,
as far
you don't know nobody care about hate against women when it comes to hip hop. You know, don't nobody care about that. That
true,
ain't gonna alienate none of the fans.
because the thing that to me should be getting as much attention is just the trolling and the random and the disrespect, and you could even go as far as calling it harassment of Megan Thee Stallion and taunting her with the person who fucking shot her. Like,
But they don't care.
yeah, you know,
And
so
black community don't care.
like, and that to me is heartbreaking. Like, you know, on so many levels. So yeah, DaBaby, if you were starting, and I think we talked about, I was never a big DaBaby fan, but I was starting to come around to being
I'll
like,
take DaBaby over Lil Baby. Now I'll take No Baby.
I like Little Baby. Little Baby is, he's okay. I'm not, still not the biggest fan when it comes to hip hop. Honestly, I'm more old school. Like, a lot of this new school stuff, I sound like, you know what? I think it's one of those times when you say you kind of want to sound like your parents. Like, when you say you would take, you know, NWA talking about bitches ain't shit over whatever they're doing today. It's just, and I know you're not the biggest hip hop fan, but yeah. So him taking back his apology, that just made it seem to be even more trash. And you're right. We'll see how long this lasts. Like, is it just, is this something that's just of the moment? Like, when 2022 comes around, and I had said that, you know, 2022 would be the year that before, it would be 2022 before life got back to really normal. But I don't even know if that's going to be the case anymore. So we'll see what happens, you know, as more time passes. If they give him a pass, or if he's able to reclaim that rock star status that he thinks he had. I think he just thought he was always more popular than what he was. I don't know.
I
I mean, I know he was popular, but
he didn't realize. Yeah, I don't think he. I to be honest, I don't think he. I think he thought he was at a level where he could say shit like that and get away with it, and he was taught differently.
where he's
That
at, go ahead.
you like he was just taught differently that you can be at any level. And in today's society, it's not about cancel culture, because we've talked about how I hate how that's been turned upside down. But it is now, people are willing to call you out on your bullshit. Like, they are going to call you out on your bullshit. Like, you can't get away. And if you feel that you feel that way and you want to get away with it, then your star level is just going to go down. You're going to have those loyal fans, but you're not going to be as a big of a star as you could have continued to be, with, you know, your song with Levitating with Dua Lipa and all. Like, you could have been a bigger hip hop star, but now, no, you're not. So he gonna have to rework his image to whatever level he's deciding to be on. There's a lot of hip hop artists who are considered to be a big deal, who feel the same way he does and who voice it the same way he does. So he's just gonna have to be on their level, rather on that. Let me see, how can I say this? How can I say this? Rather than being on that white people money shit. Is that
That's perfect.
Is that the way to say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he just lost like white people money. But he's still gonna make that black people money. So he good. He good.
And you know, and I can honestly say, not all black people. Yeah, not all black people are
Not
riding.
all black people,
Look, he gonna
but a
look.
lot of black people who listen
He
to
got
hip
that
hop
hood.
are fine
He
with
gonna
it.
he gonna have that true down gangster hood money, but he ain't gonna. And I think he thinks that he was at the Kanye level, like, and I think Kanye gets a pass because we all know that. Lord forgive me, help me. We all know that Kanye literally is not quite right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not an excuse, but we know that Kanye is not all there. Just, and
Kanye gets a pass because at the end of the day, no matter how crazy he is, he's a genius musically.
Yeah.
And
As
we
well.
like, I always talk about, like, at the end of the day, like, I can't stand Kanye's new music. That, like, people love it. I am not a fan of it, but I will always remember College Dropout Kanye. And I
Yeah.
understand, like, that was his first, but when I heard that, like, I was just like, damn, that's good. Like, that brings me back to, like, when hip hop and rap was, like, top level. So because I always remember that, like, at the end of the day, like, I will always remember Kanye is a musical genius. I mean, I always agree with his statements. I mean, I always agree with the music that he puts out, but he's a musical genius. DaBaby ain't shit.
Yeah. Like, and Kanye was a producer, and he did. And when I go back, like now, especially going back more into music for the website and stuff, I think the last artist we did before we went on vacay was Jay-Z. And I was just going back and looking all the way back. I don't want to say it was Reasonable Doubt, but it was in the early era Jay-Z. You go back and I see features with Kanye, and I'm like, damn, no, we hadn't even heard of Kanye. And I knew he was a producer and more behind the scenes, and he wrote for a lot of people before he dropped his own. So yeah, it just goes with that. Although I am looking forward to Donda. I heard Donda was kind of good, and he moved into the freaking Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta to finish it. Again, Kanye just on that whole Kanye just doing Kanye things with that. But I think he thinks he was on that type of permanent level, that permanency where he has that kind of clout, and he doesn't. And again, like you said, people today, this isn't 2010. This isn't 10 years ago. This isn't 20 years ago. People are no longer just letting the offensive shit slide off their back without calling you out. And again, not to go to cancel culture, you have the right to call someone out if they offend you or say something that is just disrespectful, and hold them accountable for it. And the people who agree with him are people like T.I. Like, dude, when you got T.I. who's facing his own amount of legal shit on rape charges and all of that, we don't have a conversation. There's no need to have a conversation about that. When you got Chris Brown out here making sense, again, dude, you might be in the upside down. And really quick, one of the things we did not mention in the quick pops, Eminem is returning to acting. Are you excited about that?
No.
What? I
It's
think this
like
is gonna. Huh?
Where's the excitement? Like, it's one episode, and it's not even going to be him. Like, they're CGIing his face.
In the White Boy Rick series?
Yeah. What? He's not going to be in a White Boy Rick series. He's going to play White Boy Rick in Black Mafia Family.
Well, oh.
And only one episode. They're CGIing his face the way that they did to Robert De Niro in The Irishman to make him look younger so he can play White Boy Rick in Black Mafia Family, which is coming out September 26th on Stars.
Are we going to add that to the calendar?
No.
What?
But I am excited to watch it, but I don't want to review it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have Stars, so I got to figure that whole thing out. So I'm not going to be like trying to run around trying to watch it in order for us to review it.
We'll talk. Oh, well, see, I read something totally different. Never mind.
I thought, like, when you wrote that for the list, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, let me see what he's gonna be in, right?
And
then I read it, and I was just like, oh, one episode. I was like, okay.
And then what I read, the thing I read and saw, it had him next to like White Boy Rick, who is a real person, like next to White Boy Rick now, like out of jail. I'm like, oh, he gonna play White Boy Rick now? Man,
no, because he's gonna be in the 1980s.
With the Black
Mafia
family.
Yeah. It's a series from the 1980s. So they're basically going to CGI his face. And I'm like, I want to see like how he does and like how it turns out and everything. Because I actually enjoyed watching the White Boy Rick movie. But
I did too.
Yeah, but great movie, y'all. If y'all have not seen it, I would say please go watch it. It was really, really good. But yeah, so that's it. It's gonna be one episode. It's gonna be like episode 8 out of the 9 episodes for the series or something like that. 50 Cent is going to be directing the episode, but yeah, like it's not like he's just kind of throwing his hat in the ring for a little bit and then he's gonna step away again.
Oh, well, see, and then, well, the premise I heard now, see, and I read about Black Mafia family in different contexts, like, and it had me, but I have a love hate relationship with Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent. Um, Professionally, especially what he's done in acting, his post music career is great. Personally, not so much. So I have to try to separate the two because I know people love Power, and the episodes I've watched of Power, they were good. You know, but so Black Mafia Family seems interesting. I might give it a try and see how I like it, regardless of the executive producer. Um, so sticking with our rap theme and our final story, we were talking about misogyny, just something to clear it all up. Um, you know, Eminem was a palate cleanser.
Before we mess up the palate again.
Yeah, we just had to cleanse. We just had to cleanse the palate a little bit, you know. But yeah, so I have. Oh God, where to even begin with this? Nicki Minaj. A few years ago, she got married. She married her high school sweetheart, who turned out to be a convicted felon. He was convicted on rape charges and um, also as a sex. He had to register as a sex offender. People at first, when it was announced, you know, she found true love, married her high school sweetheart. Okay, then it came out he was a convicted felon, and people were like, Nicki, come on now. But you know, and so he did his time, but then more and more came out about what he did. And people were like, Nicki, really? And I think it really kind of came to a head when they moved out to LA. They had to get permission for him to move to LA. They had to get permission for him to use a computer. Um, they had to get permission for him to even be around his kid because, again, he is a convicted sex offender. And so apparently for the last few years, they've been harassing. She, as well as her husband, have been harassing his victim, um, trying to get her to recant her statement. And this happened, I believe he was convicted when, 1995, 97?
95. The incident happened. Well, not the incident. The crime happened in 1994.
Yeah. So, you know, and the woman has recently filed charges, a civil suit against them for the harassment. And you know, she said that, and I read the complaint, and it's bad. Um, you know, she said that Nicki called, and she actually talked to her, like, and she said, "Look, I know that this is your husband. I know y'all have a history." She said, "But I'm telling you, woman to woman, this happened to me. He did this." You know, he copped the plea so he could get less time, and that was part of the plea that he copped. And you know, and she's offered to play at the woman's sweet 16. She's offered her cold hard cash. She's turned it all down, and she's like, no. And so, uh, Nicki, she released. She was like, oh well. So what she told her fans is, oh well, she's a white woman, and that happened last year in the midst of everything that was going on. So, you know, she kind of weaponized the movement against this woman. It's just horrible. I don't really know what to say.
But so Nicki has a history of defending men that she should not have to defend because her brother's the same way. There's a history of her brother. I don't know if he is like a registered sex offender or something like that, but there's something in her brother's background along those lines. And then you get with your high school sweetheart. I get that. But what kind of woman are you that when you find out that he is a sex offender, I guess he gave you the sob story of how it really turned out. But it wasn't like, oh, because they were both 16. this is how serious y'all should think of it. And this is without me giving you details of it. They were both 16 years old, right? So this isn't he was older, he slept with a younger girl, because you know how sometimes that will happen, where you have like an 18-year-old sleeps like his girlfriend's 16, they have sex, and then her parents, get him arrested or whatever like that, and they have to like that has happened, yes. But that's not the case. They were both 16 years old, and he attempted to rape this girl. Attempted to rape her. He got arrested, he was charged, and he was found guilty. Went to jail 4 years, and he was let out, which is a sad thing, but he was let out. So I'm like, if he was 16, that means, and he was your high school sweetheart, wouldn't she have known this? How did she not know this if that was your high school sweetheart? So then you end up marrying him. I don't know what kind of sob story he gives you of that. This woman tells you what really happened. She's been straight to you the whole entire time, has not changed her story up of what happened to her when she was 16 years old. And your thing is, I'm going to use my celebrity in order to defend my sex offender husband.
And, Are you fucking serious? And you know what? It wasn't even necessarily to defend the sex offender husband. It was to clean up the reputation, because people were questioning. They're asking the same, Nicki, like, what? Why would you marry this man? Like, why? What is,
And did she have a kid by him or something? Or is she pregnant or something like that?
No, they had the kid. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
they had to get permission
for him. He can't even be around children. Come on.
Like, supposedly he's her manager. He has something to do with her career now or something like that. And so they had to get permission for him to use the computer. When he moved to LA, initially he violated his parole or probation.
He didn't register as a sex offender in California.
Yeah. And so then they had to go through all of this. He had to get permission to be around the kid, like his child, once he was born. And I'm like, really? So what are you trying to say? Are you going with this whole, it didn't happen, you don't want to believe her? Like, I just, and whether or not you believe her, obviously you don't. The lengths that you're going to stalk and harass and get your fans to stalk and harass this woman is ridiculous to me. To also clean up your reputation because you don't want to be known as someone who is married to a convicted felon / sex offender.
Which you are.
Yeah. So I've always had a love-hate problematic relationship with Nicki Minaj, and I've tried to separate the person from the music, and this just makes it harder.
She has such a promising, because Nicki she has skill.
She does.
She has so much skill. Like, she's underrated on, yes, I understand, like, she was very, very popular at one point, but even when she was at the top of her game, people still question her talent and her skill. Like, it was still questioned even as she was putting out like hit after hit after hit. And like, that girl got talent. Like, she has so much talent. And to think that all this talent that you have and you marry this dude, out of all the men, and I understand, because having men desire you is very, very different than actually finding somebody that loves you for who you are. But if this is who you are, then I can understand why Cardi B wanted to beat your ass up in that museum.
Like, and like I said, you hear the stories about how she's not the nicest person, and I get it. I don't know her personally, so, but just, and my thing is this: if one or two people say it, then they may have just met you on a bad day, had a bad experience. You can chalk that up to just whatever. But if you hear all these stories and all these people are saying the same thing, all these different people, then there's some truth to that. And so, like I said, it's just, this makes it harder to separate the person from the music, and the talent. And it's just like, it's one thing if you want to stick by him, that's your ride or die. You knew who he was when you married him. Hell, the whole world knew who he was when you married him.
Touché.
You made that choice. So now you can't go back and stalk this woman and harass her and try to, I guess, bribe and intimidate her into changing her story to clean up your reputation. Because
you destroy it on your own.
Yeah, because if it's true, it doesn't change what he did. It doesn't change who he is or who he was. And I'm not saying that's the same person he still is. I don't know that. But you taking part in all of this, it says that obviously a lot hasn't changed.
I feel that I agree with you on that part, Eddie. Like, if y'all are still trying to like pressure this woman, because now she is a grown-ass woman, pressure this woman into changing her story or recanting her story, which was what is being told, then obviously, like you said, he hasn't changed. Like, people can change. They definitely can. A great example of this would be like Chris Brown. Like, he says, like, he definitely saw things differently after he had his daughter. Not to say he's perfect, but you definitely see a change after he realized, like, oh shit, like, what I've been doing, my daughter can go through one day because, I had my assholery ways. But with you and your husband, your husband's still the same way. If y'all all this time later, how many years has it been? Like 20 years, 20, 25, 20,
Almost
30
years.
30. So yeah.
27
years. Yeah. You're yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, dude, you were 16. You did something really stupid, really fucked up when you were 16 years old. You went, you did your time, you paid the price. You're still paying the price. It's unfortunate, to that all this time, that forever he's going to have to register as a sex offender. And again, a lot of what happened, I'm not saying, I wasn't there, I don't know. He was a juvenile. We know the system is unfair to Black people versus white people, so I'm not even getting into that part of it right now. But so it is possible that you could have changed, and there's a way that your PR team could have handled this a hell of a lot better than what y'all are doing now, to clean it up and make it more quote unquote acceptable, if that makes any sense. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Like, all the money you have, instead of trying to bribe her to get her to recant her story, which she's not doing, and spending all this time and getting all your fans and all these other people to harass and intimidate, and now you're facing charges and all this other shit, and you're going so far as to do the one thing that you were trying to undo. You're ruining your reputation. Now you could have spent all this money on a hell of a PR firm and got them to spin this shit for you so right, but it's just the way you're handling it. Like, come on now. Like they say, you can take them out the hood, but sometimes you can't take the hood out of them. Like,
all right.
Like, now pay people to be your gangster and pay them to do it right and legally. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm sure this is not the end of that story, but it is the end, unfortunately, of this episode of The Wind Down. Unless you have something else.
Yo, did you see the Eternals trailer?
Oh my God, yes. I cannot wait. I am
so excited.
I know that's on our calendar.
On a really good note, y'all. Like, if you haven't already, the Externals trailer is like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Just as a palate cleanser, I will probably drop that in the blog. And stay tuned for more news. We will be coming back from our vacation after Labor Day. We kind of, like I said, took the month of August off on the website and on socials and everything, just to kind of take a break. But we've been keeping the cast coming to you, so hopefully you've been enjoying those. But we will be back in full swing, hitting on all cylinders after Labor Day. And I will actually put the trailer in the blog for a palate cleanser to end on a really good note. And I know that's on the calendar, right? Give the people something to look forward to.
Yes.
Okay.
November. I don't know when, but it is going to be an episode in November. So
okay.
Definitely look out for that.
All right. So, again, that does it for this episode of the ReWine. Please be sure to like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and/or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the Popcorn Wind Down. And the daily wind down will have a new look when we return, so definitely be sure to check that out. That's it. That's the plug. Pop, pop. Poppity pop pop. Guess I'm gonna have to do my own sound effect until our
You've been
next
doing
one.
so well with it.
But it's not the same, dude. One day, Tammy will stop being so cruel to me and buy me get me a sound effect. Anyway, thank you as always, and until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.